Today we will be discussing the Young Lords organization and their impact and influence within the community. The Young Lords was developed in Chicago and was founded in 1968 by Jose Jimenez, also known as Cha-Cha. The Young Lords were originally known as a Puerto Rican gang, but then developed to be an activist group. They became an activist group after Jose Jimenez was imprisoned due to some drug offense. After being in prison, he became more aware of the racial discrimination that Puerto Ricans faced within jail and outside of jail. Many Puerto Ricans often face discrimination, lack of employment, police brutality, lack of education, and gentrification. They were often targeted by white individuals. They were inspired by the Black Panthers. The Young Lords had a 13-point police policy or responsibility list. Their main focus was to advocate for minority groups that lacked health care, education, housing, and employment. The Young Lords organization expanded from Chicago to New York and was renamed as the Young Lord Party in 1969. It was Mickey Melendez who began the East Coast expansion of the Young Lords. The Young Lords Party in New York had protested and advocated in many different ways. The Young Lords took over a church to provide services for their community. This included a daycare and simple, basic health care needs. The Young Lords also had a breakfast program in which children of the community would participate in and have a free breakfast due to low income and not having the proper resources. One instance includes the Young Lords initiating a neighborhood cleanup in the city of Harlem. The sanitation services within the city often lacked and barely cleaned up the streets or picked up the garbage. Because of this, on July 1969, the Young Lords decided to lay out the garbage in the middle of the streets. Many of them lit the garbage on fire and let it burn. This then attracted many media outlets and had pictures taken of what was occurring in Harlem and the poor living conditions they lived in due to the lack of sanitation department and the lack of government involvement. On July 1970, the Young Lords Party took over a city X-ray truck to conduct tuberculosis screenings. They had essentially took over the truck and drove it to East Harlem and provided a free screening for those who could not afford a screening or would not reach the time that the truck was providing screenings and at a different location due to distance. Before taking over the X-ray truck, they had already been going door to door servicing tuberculosis detection. On July 1970, in South Bronx, the Lincoln Hospital was taken over by the Young Lords. Many members of the Young Lords Party barricaded within the hospital. They made it public to the media that they had demands for the hospital and the government. The Lincoln Hospital lacked many resources and at times did not have the proper equipment. Within the film Takeover, there is a scene in which it is explained how at times patients would go in with one thing and come out with a different problem. Because of this, the Lincoln Hospital was known as the butcher shop. The Young Lords demanded increased pay for all the workers. Many of the workers were from the local community who were minority groups. They demanded funding to have a new hospital built and also demanded for a daycare to be built. The Young Lords hung flags out of the hospital windows saying, "Welcome to the People's Hospital." This protest, also negotiation, took up to 12 hours. Members that participated and held those captive within the hospital used white coats to disguise themselves to leave the hospital without having anyone suspect who was involved. This resulted in a new Lincoln Hospital being constructed, but that was 6 years after this protest had occurred. The new hospital provided new services for the community, such as a daycare and other testings that were needed. The Young Lords' impact was a very positive impact within the minority community, especially for those who were not able to afford simple services or were pushed away by the government. These communities were often swept under and overlooked,